I'm here at Rappahannock Cellars with John Delmare. And John, you have done some really cool things here since the last time I was here, just recently it seems. So tell me a little bit about Rappahannock and what you're doing right now.
Oh my gosh, well, you want the story from the beginning? Or
Sure, I'd love it.
Oh my gosh, well, try to make a long story short. We had a little winery in California in the mid-90s. We sold our winery, we moved to Virginia. We did the reverse commute to the east. And it took us a couple of years to find this property and plant the vines and start the winery. We started the winery in 2000, opened our tasting room in 2001. Wow. You know, as the business grew, back in those days, we were one of the closest wineries to DC.
Yes.
We thought we had a perfect location. And then as wineries sprung up between us and the Beltway, we kind of shifted gears and we thought, well, how do we exist in a business out so far away?
Right.
And so we really started focusing on our wine club, and that's kind of the lead into what are we doing now. Our wine club is the backbone of our business. It's about 80% of our sales.
You know, you had this winery in California. What part of California were you in?
Santa Cruz Mountains, on the Santa Clara side of the mountains.
Right.
Saratoga.
Yeah. Awesome. And then what possessed you to just pick up and come this direction?
Well, you know, we got into the wine business. My wife comes from 120-year-old California farming, dried fruit. So we've always kind of been around the farms, the ranches, the prune ranches and apricot ranches, and we love the idea of raising our kids on a farm.
Yeah.
So I was in the real estate development business in the Bay Area, and it was like, well, honey, we can't move to the farm.
Yeah.
So what's the next best thing? Well, the next best thing was, well, let's go and, you know, as you know, if you know the Bay Area, the mountains there, you're a 20-minute drive away, and once you're in the mountains, you feel like you're a million miles away.
Right.
So we started on a little search. We came across an old, literally 80-year-old winery that was for sale at the time, and moved there, moved our family there, loved it, decided that we loved it so much that we wanted to do it somewhere other than Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
My wife said, honey, all I'm doing is driving up and down the mountain all day long, carting the kids back and forth. So we sold it. We started looking for another place. We looked in all over wine countries in the West Coast, and through some friends of ours that were moving to Virginia, they said, hey, you need to come see Virginia. And we thought, well, all right, we're going to try Virginia.
Wow.
So just kind of plunked down and started looking around and thought, well, let's start looking for vineyard lands. So
that's fantastic. Well, what do you find different between the grape varietals that you could grow there, the ones that you grow here, or the styles of making wine in those two areas?
Yeah, great question. We were fortunate enough that our old planted in 1910 vineyard in California grew a lot of Chardonnay and a lot of Cabernet Franc, which was highly unusual for California, highly usual for the East Coast. So we were starting to feel a little bit at home. You know, Virginia, your palette of what you can grow is much narrower than what you can grow in California. We love Zinfandel. We grew it on our site in California, and there's no chance of growing it in Virginia. And there are a few things out here that we didn't even, you know, some of the hybrid grapes as an example.
Sure.
Norton, that we make our port from.
Right.
That was something that didn't even know existed. You know, of course, you come from California, and California's the center of the universe, right? So it must be the center of the wine universe.
Yeah.
You know, California, I've always said, you can be a hobby farmer in California. You can plant your grapes in the spring and prune the vines, come back in the fall and harvest what you've grown. Right. You know, here in Virginia, if you don't manage your vines for even as little as a few weeks, you'll lose your crop. Yeah. And when it comes to winemaking, you know, because our weather here in this mid-Atlantic climate is so different year to year, our grapes year to year are different. So from a winemaking perspective, you know, again, contrasting California, you have very consistent grapes year to year, and you hone your craft, and you just do it a little bit better. You're making the same style of wine, do it a little bit better, you hope every year. Here in Virginia this year, these grapes may be very reminiscent of Bordeaux. Next year, they may be very reminiscent of California. Yeah. You've got Old World, New World. And so assessing the grapes, understanding how these grapes are going to be best expressed in a wine, and then being able to make those different styled wines.
Well, John, thanks so much for having us here today.
Oh my gosh, thanks for being here.
It's just fun to be in this space.